Hey residents of Meepletown, today we are looking at Castles of Burgundy and Castles of Burgundy. We're going to be comparing the older version, a game that I've had for a really long time, to the newer version, and we've not done a run through of this one. This is actually a top 10 game for me for sure. I love this game very much. Do I like the newer version better than the older one? Well, let's get to the table and check it out. Okay, the first thing that I'm going to do is show off the board, and I've got the, first let's do the main board. I'll show off the older version. I'm not sure if these are going to fit all the way on here. I've got it kind of zoomed in because I want to show all the components. But this will be one of the biggest talking points for people that are looking at it, so hopefully you can see it well enough. This is the old version of the board. You have all of these different market spaces where you're going to be drawing your tiles on here, space in the middle, place where you're going to be getting your goods. And then if you look up here, you have your, let's pull that down a little bit, you have your track over here that keeps up with the rounds and how many points you're going to get from when the goods come out, and then those goods are going to go out on the board. So this is the main board, again, for the original one, and then I'll throw the newer version up there. Just so you know that that older version was a bifold. This one is a sorry, this one's a bifold. That one, not sure how to say that. This one is in 4 different quadrants, and the other one was just in 2. You just fold it in half. So this is the newer version of the board, and I'll go ahead and say, because this is what most people are going to talk about with this newer version, is the busyness of it. You have a lot of these building artwork in the background. There's no doubt in my mind that the artwork is much more vibrant and I would say much more my taste. I really enjoy the artwork in this new one. However, it does detract from being able to see the board as well. From being able to see all the components out on the board as well, in my mind. But is that enough to detract from the game? This is, you saw the round tracker and the goods stack up here and go out on the board. In my mind, I like the art design better on that. It just feels more, I guess maybe thematic might be the right word. Looking at the scoring on the outside of the board, I like the artwork design on that a lot better. But again, it can be busy, and I would say if there is a huge complaint that anybody might have about this game, that is going to be it. I mean, in my mind, in my experience, that's what is going on. Now, you do have the double-sided here, and so this is the 2 and 3 player side, and then may have that right. Excuse me, I might have that wrong. So the 2-3 player side, and then the other side was the 4 player, and basically you just cut out some of those spaces, which that is helpful to be able to have the dual side board. It seems a little less busy, I think, on the 2-3 player side because there's not as many of the squares on there. And but overall, I would say that's probably the biggest negative that I have about the new version of that. If you look at the player boards, this is the old version, and this is just the base side of the player board. These are double-sided, and you've got the different setups for the map on here. This is going to have a place, for your dice to go, for your silverlings in the old version. The new version is just called silver coins. I still call them silverlings because I think it's fancier. And then just the layout. Everything's very clear on here. There's no doubt, like the clarity of the design is just really well done. You also have on the board the different buildings. So these are the brown buildings that you build throughout the game. Those are the symbols that they have on here. Also a place to put your workers down here. And then just, what you can do with your dice, what you can do with your silverling, which is buying from the center piece of that board. Everything is laid out very clearly. The new version is also laid out very similar to that. You've got a place to put your goods. Again, you've got 3 goods that you can put into your warehouse. Your board is much more prominent on here, and then you've got a place for your workers, your silver coins, and then you've got a place to put your tiles. These are the tiles that you're going to take from the center based on when you roll the dice, and then they'll go here in the storage. You can only have 3, and then they'll go from here out onto the board. I do think, again, that the artwork on this one is a little brighter, but I don't think it detracts from any of the visibility of the game. That has not been an issue in my plays using the newer version. Now, one thing you're thinking is, well, I'm missing the player board that's going to show me all of the different things on there. Well, if you need that, it does come with this little handy piece of cardboard, and this is going to have all of the different, what the tiles do when you're going to be drafting those and putting them out onto your board, and how they're going to react, but then also all of the different buildings on here and what they're going to do. So that you do still have that. And then just some more player aid on the back of that if you need it. It's just a separate piece. Just like the original, both of those boards, or the player boards, are all really thin. Some people might not like that. I actually really prefer having those thin boards in Castles of Burgundy in both versions because they'll lay flat on the table. Thicker cardboards sometimes will bow up on the sides and spin around if you're not playing on like a play mat. So I actually really like having that. Okay, now we're just going to take a look at some of the components from the game, and I'll talk about some of the differences after that. First thing we're going to do, I'm just going to throw up, things kind of randomly up here. I'll have the new piece on this side over here, which is the scoring bonus that you get for completing all the areas. Specifically in this area, it's for the science, or the monastery is the new science. Completing, I think that's what it was called in the old version, but so the bonus that you get if you're the first player to complete it, or the second player, and this is the difference. So it's kind of a wash for me either way, honestly. This one I might prefer the look overall, but the clarity on the old one I think is pretty well done. I'm just going to throw up some random things here now. So we got the newer version. We've got the silver coin and the worker compared to the old version. I've got the worker here and then the silverling right there. The difference here is going to be the color. Honestly, that's going to be the biggest change. Let me make sure you can see that well enough. I might have to change a setting on here, but not really much difference. I never really had a hard time with the being able to see the workers. It's possible that could be an issue that people have had, but I think overall that's not something that was ever really an issue for me. So let's see if this is a little bit better. We've got those pulled up on there now, and there we go. So that is the difference between those. Kind of a wash. I mean, honestly, that's not a reason to really change things up, I don't think. Let me throw some of the different. I'll do the old version first. So a couple of the different buildings that we got on here. We've got the carpenter's workshop and the watchtower there. I think that's what it's called in the newer version. We'll put the boat out there, put a pasture out there, and a castle, and one of the science tokens. And again, I could totally have all of these way off in what they're called, but that's what I call them. And then the mine. And so in the newer version, the tiles are actually thicker, which is a nice touch. I do like that. Got the castle, throw one of the monasteries up there, which function as the different technology, the upgrades to your board. Put some more pigs out there on the newer version, put a boat out there, and then the two same buildings, actually, the watchtower and then the carpenter's workshop. I will say this is an improvement overall. I think I like the difference in the buildings. The color on these is a little bit lighter. I'm not sure if that shows up on camera or not. This is a little bit darker for sure, but the pictures on there I think are clear, and sometimes in the older version I feel like that's an issue, is being able to see really well what those buildings are because they can all be really similar. I don't think that's been an issue in this game. I like the upgraded ship design on the shipping tiles. I like those a lot. I think it's great. The pigs, the different animals that you're going to have from the pasture tiles are I would say a little more muted maybe. They're the detail or the definition around the pictures I don't think is as prominent as the old one, but kind of a wash. The castle on the new one versus the old one, I actually in some ways kind of like the older design better, but they're really similar. And then I will say the tiles, let me go ahead and flip these over. It might be a little bit easier to see. I do think I like the yellow being more prominent in the newer version than the older version. If you look at these two, they can be really similar sometimes. The animal tiles and then the science tiles. And so I do prefer the newer version. And I think the iconography is a little bit more concise potentially on the new ones. I like it anyway. I like the iconography on there. And then the mines, pretty close, but again, I probably, because of the thickness overall, I really prefer the new one, and then some of the art, and then the clarity between the different colors that you have on there. Another thing I'll throw up there, I'm gonna throw up the older ones first. I've been kind of doing these in reverse, but sorry, so hopefully you can see those clearly enough. We're just gonna throw these different goods tiles out there. So let's see. You've got all these different ones. The colors matter because of how you're shipping, how you're selling those, and they matching up to the numbers and all of that. But one thing that you don't get is variety in the pictures on there. And in the new one, you do. You are actually selling these goods, right? You've got thicker tiles again. The tiles are better in my opinion. You got the furniture, and you got some what is that? That's some food, and you got some jars, and here you got some jewelry. And so the look of these, I think, is I think is better overall. And for me, this is the biggest upgrade as far as those tiles go. But they actually have a function too, because in one of the expansions, you can go down the trading route and you're actually shipping these different goods. And so so it's kind of nice to have the little upgraded icons on there. Not a huge difference, honestly, but I kind of like it. So up to this point, I would say I'm fairly even. I don't know if I really necessarily need the newer version if I already have the older version, because everything is pretty close to being about the same. But the biggest difference for me in this game, and this is why for me I'm glad that I have the newer version, and I'm going to stick with the newer version overall, although I've got some friends who I play with that much prefer the older version based on the this is what I'm used to, but also they like the more muted colors on the board, and I totally get that. But for me, the new game offers so much variety because of the different expansion material involved. And so you've got tons of boards. Okay, that's the first thing. I'm just going to let's throw some of these older ones out. You've got tons of boards, different options, different looks and reasons to get the new boards because of the different expansion material that you're going to see. But it's just like, this is endless supply of boards on here, and I really I think that's pretty fantastic. So I like that a lot. You also have this team board. Let's see if I put this together correctly. I'm not sure if I did. There we go. There we go. This is the team board. You put two boards together, play as a team. You've got solo options in the newer version. You have these shields that you can now pick up, and this goes along with when you're rolling. When you roll doubles, you have different options of picking up these shield tiles, which can be hurtful in the sense of not getting to take the actions that you might want to take, but instead you're trading them in for these shields, which can have really powerful abilities and ways to get points at the end of the game. Those can be really cool. I mentioned the trade routes earlier, where you put these up, and instead of putting the sold goods on your board, you're going to put them there, and you're going to go along the trade routes, and then you're going to take the bonuses as you are shipping along the trade route. You have the different tiles in the new expansions. I'm sure I'm missing some things, but there are a lot of different options with the expansion material in the box. You've got different animals in the box that do different things, and those are, these are expansions that you saw, some that you saw in the past. I'm not sure if we saw all of these in the past, but some of them for sure we saw in the past. But then you have to piecemeal all this older game to be able to get all of those things. With the new one, everything comes in the box. Tons of materials that you're never going to get bored of. And for me, that's the biggest selling point. Now, I've played Castles of Burgundy a lot. Again, it's one of my top 10 games. I love this game quite a bit. The art on the board doesn't bother me as much, mainly because I know the game so well that I don't struggle to find the things. Now, if it's somebody newer, maybe that could be an issue, maybe not. But for me, it hasn't been a big enough issue. I would rather have the expansion material in the box. Now, if you think I might not play this very often, I'd rather have the muted colors and be able to see more clearly what's out on the board, then you might prefer getting the old version. But I will say that some of the iconography is to me cleaner in the new version, and so that's again a couple of the reasons why I prefer the new version. I'm glad I have it, and I will keep that one in my collection. Regardless, the game is amazing and will stay in my collection for a long time, regardless of what version it was. Love Castles of Burgundy. So that's going to do it for this video. If you'd like to get in touch with us, you can reach out to us at our website, mapletowngames.com. You can go to @MapletownGames at Facebook, Twitter, Instagram to get in touch with us on social media. You can also, we have a Patreon now, patreon.com/Mapletown if you would like to support us financially and all the things that we're doing with the podcast and with the with YouTube and everything else that's going on. We would really appreciate that. And until next time, thanks for coming down to Mapletown. Thanks for joining us, and be sure to follow us on Twitter @MapletownGames and connect with us on the Mapletown Guild, guild number 3407 at BoardGameGeek.com, and also subscribe to our podcast and YouTube channel. And until next time, thanks for coming down to Mapletown.